The story of the American spirit begins with the uncharted territory, just beyond the hand-drawn lines on a map. No roads, just forest, river, and grain. And those that dared to take a step into the unknown. We believe that that same character is still alive today, and when crafted with integrity, can be poured into a glass.
Well, that's a beautiful bourbon, just came out of that barrel. And yes, it came out of that barrel and it came off a still, but its spirit was born along with the beginning of America. Kentucky County in 1776, the first naming of Kentucky. Of course, 1776, the Declaration of Independence. And at the same time, people are streaming into Kentucky, where America really got its first start through the Cumberland Gap on the west side of the Alleghenies and the Appalachians. So that's where the spirit of bourbon really took hold. That's what we try and put in every glass of 15 Stars, Kentucky County, or First West, all of our brands. We want the spirit of America, the spirit of Kentucky, and the spirit of bourbon to come through in every glass.
At 15 Stars, our singular vision is to craft historic bourbons that rank among the highest rated whiskeys. But we don't start with an end in mind, but we try to make bourbons that can speak for themselves, with confidence and elegance, depth, and full of notes of complexity.
You advance by thinking that you're going to explore that territory, you're going to learn about something, you're going to build on your knowledge of how to produce, in our case, a really, really excellent whiskey, and you're going to be able to back up from that, even if it's not fruitful at that moment, right? You're going to be able to back up from that with some new knowledge that helps you find that next path to explore.
We believe that highly aged bourbon and beautifully distilled heirloom corns carry something that nothing else can. A history and an ethos, with an alchemy of flavor that has moved through the hills and hollows of time, with a certain grace and grit.
Bourbon is the kind of vessel that ties us to different moments in history, having it be that thread that carries back to those early days of America where bourbon is, in a way, in conversation with time.
Here at home, we have a region we like to call the Golden Spot. It centers on Kentucky, with a halo over Tennessee and southern Indiana. We believe this is the place on earth best suited by climate for maturing bourbon in white oak barrels. Kentucky summers swell the wood, winters pull it back tight, and all the while the whiskey breathes in and out of that barrel until it is not just finely aged, but earned. There is a boldness in every first taste that reminds you where you started, a complexity further down the path that keeps you exploring, and a stillness that lingers at the very end once you've arrived. We taste for all of it. And we taste our whiskey against the finest bourbons in the market, not to chase a trophy, but because you cannot know how good something is until you sip it beside the best that ever was. We flavor proof, not market proof. If the truth of the whiskey says no, we listen.
It's not about pushing to any one place. It's about finding those spots where those bourbons really work together and finding bourbons first that work together and letting them kind of display and reveal what they have to offer. So we don't have an opportunity really to push it into a corner. We really just let them reveal what they have and find those spots in those ratios of each of the bourbons that allows it to show its very, very best and to let each of them show their very, very best. That gives a complexity in the glass that we don't think you can get another way.
For us, this is personal, a living record of America's native spirit.
The thought of putting out a product that we don't have full conviction in, that we don't think is something that we would truly be proud to release to a customer is inconceivable.
It's easy to think of history as something dusty, but we don't buy that. History is alive. When the early frontier explorers built their fires and looked deep into the night sky, they changed the way we dream. They pushed into the First West with a kind of hope that came with no guarantee. When Kentucky County became a state and the flag waved 15 stars, they became defined not by who they were, but who they were willing to become. What began with them became us. Every star earned. Every sip in honor of the story. The past is not behind us. It is the torch that lights the way. 15 stars. Crafting historic bourbons today.